Okay, now let's go live to the University of Cape Town and speak to Elijah Moholola, the spokesperson there following those overnight clashes and the building being on fire. Elijah, good morning. What's the latest? Have you managed to contain the fire at that Steve Biko student building?
Good morning, and at this stage, the several fires that had been set by the protesting students have been brought under control. There was, the last I checked, there was still some fires that was around the Jamie Plaza, but all other fires had been extinguished. So we are hoping that by the time at least the lectures are scheduled to start, at least the situation would have been brought under control so that this does not have an impact on the ongoing lectures.
Elijah, you said several fires. I mean, we've been reporting mostly about the Steve Biko Students' Union building. Are you able to share with us what other buildings were on fire?
The building that was affected was the one that you've mentioned, the Steve Biko one, and then there was one around the Jamie Plaza itself, which was just, this is like just a space of fire that is just set out in the open as well, just probably as a way of attracting attention, I would suppose. But the building that really sort of got affected the most was the one that the student had been unlawfully occupying for the past 2 weeks, the Steve Biko building. And the difficulty with that was that you had a situation where for 2 weeks, staff members who are housed in that building could not access the location to do their day-to-day duties.
Okay. Now, police still on campus, on site this morning?
Yes, there is still quite a level of police presence on campus, and this, we always admit, it's a very undesirable situation for the institution just to see reliance on, even if it was our own internal security, let alone the SAPS. We didn't want it to get to this point. However, in light of what happened last evening, there had to be a situation where police was brought in, but importantly, the police was really brought in just to try and contain the damage that was going on. The buildings were being damaged as well as the fires that were being set alight. That is why up to this stage there hasn't been any arrests made, because the primary objective of bringing the police on board was really just to get them to assist campus security with just containing the situation.
No arrests yet made. Any students present this morning as we speak, or have they dispersed?
They are still around campus. They haven't really dispersed. The groups. What happens with the groups as well is that they get larger and smaller at one point in time. So there is still just a smaller group that is still present. And as long as they protest peacefully, which is what is always emphasized, as long as they want to protest peacefully, they do not cause damage or even violence, we are okay with that because it's their democratic constitutional right. However, our concern would get to a stage where we have a situation where police officers as well as security officers were attacked. This is something that we condemn strongly, as well as this damage to property as well that is going to cost us millions that the university obviously cannot really afford to spend.
Okay, we understand one security officer was injured and that police had to use stun grenades overnight right up to the early hours of this morning, as you've told us. Were there any other injuries besides the one security officer?
At this stage, we are aware of just that one injury that has been reported. We do not at this stage have information. There might be probably that students might have been injured as well, but we do not really have that information at this stage. But what we can confirm is that one security officer was injured after being attacked.
In your statement that you issued in the early hours of this morning, you were expressing a hope that the situation on upper campus at the University of Cape Town will return to an extent that today you can open. Are you still confident as we speak to you now? It's just gone 6:30.
We have to just frankly admit that it is going to be a bit of a difficult situation to try and handle because obviously by around this time we cannot really say that the university or access is fully open to upper campus, and that is where most of our academic activities take place. But our officers have been really working hard to try and restore the situation to ensure that one, there will be access on campus for any students who have to start coming through for their lectures us this morning, and two, the situation also with the protesters is contained, because we do not want to have a situation where engagements or a way of resolving these issues is via force, is via, acts of protest and are trying to just react to them. We want to create a situation where the students are drawn back to the negotiation table, where we had made excellent progress over the past weekend through a mediation process that lasted 3 days, and there had been commitments that were made by the executive towards meeting most of the demands by these students. And it was just a bit unfortunate that when this draft resolution had to be signed, the students themselves actually called for an extended shutdown, which would have had the university. But we are hopeful that rather than resorting to this act of protest, we can still get the students back at the table, so that while negotiations are ongoing, while, for instance, the Sharpeville TRC that they had called for is ongoing, there can still be academic activities that are proceeding.
Thank you very much, Elijah Moholola, speaking on behalf of the University of Cape Town, following overnight clashes on campus and setting on fire of several buildings. It looks like the fire has now been put under control.